Valkyrie,
Maddie?
Mr. Ranked Ace. Welcome
Yeah,
to
that's
the
right.
stream.
Hello.
You have a 100% imp win rate this season, which started
That
yesterday.
is true.
3 imp wins. Tell me,
That is very
how does it feel to be on top? Is it lonely at the
Oh.
top?
Right now it is, yeah. I still need someone to compete with me, you know? Chipper's got a 50% imprint rate. I've got double his win rate.
Oof.
I don't know what's going on there, Chipper.
Heavy is the head that bears the crown, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you owe it to the community to give some tips, or are you keeping the secrets of imp to yourself?
I mean, from a personal point of view, I don't see myself as a very high level imposter compared to, you know, people like X and Odini.
Mhm.
But like there's systematical ways you can mechanically play to ensure you have a good chance of winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the core functions of Among Us, right, the imposters need to win by getting to 4, you know? So crew can't get a majority vote on an imp, but that can be changed because if imps get to 5 during a game, they can win by getting to 4. Same goes for 6. Let's just say assume that you're going to win on 6 with no sabotage during the game.
Yeah, then
So-
you win with a double kill, like just do left
Yes.
reactor or whatever, yeah.
Yes. Now, with that logic, getting to 7 is the key number, right?
Yeah.
Because unless crew are quite certain that you're an imp with no sabotage, they're probably not going to shoot you on 7.
Right.
And you know, more experienced people go for a triple and win on 4.
Yep.
Other people may go for a solo and just push a harder keys.
Yep.
So the thing about 7 is the key number, and from round 1, there's mainly 2 ways. You can go for a triple round 1. It's possible, probably not recommended. Like you don't want to be going into a game with the mindset, let's get a triple round 1.
Right.
You need to have a
Triple round
sense
1
of-
is very difficult to pull off. You're going to get
Yeah.
it maybe 5% of the time.
Yeah, it's not worth going for. The risk isn't. The risk is greater than the reward.
Correct.
So you can either go for a solo or a double, right? Now, this is where the mechanics of first and second imp enter, right? In a single, first imp will be killing, and second imp will be clearing. In a double, you're both killing.
Yep.
So the way people, like really good imposters like XYZ play, is he plays second imp, he lets his partner get a kill, he then attempts to clear his partner on 9, or sus 2 crewmates over his partner, which end up getting 2 crewmates shot, which end up getting them to 7, being the key number, and then they triple. And gets a lot of imp wins in that condition. Whereas you can see the difference in someone like Jojo, who loves going for the double round 1.
Yep.
And the way Jojo plays is he wants to get a bit more aggressive, right? He wouldn't rather try and go for clears.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what he'll do is he'll try and pair clear with his partner, or just try and get a mechanical clear based off his kill, and get 1 crewmate shot and then get the triple. So both playstyles are adequate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about them is that they both rely on a triple on 7.
Yep.
And
That's true.
a lot of new players don't understand the mechanics of a triple on 7. I myself, who only started really playing ranked last season,
Mm-hmm.
failed at a lot of triples. And, you know, you have to realize that going for a triple on 7 is much easier said than done. You've got to isolate one person on the left or right side.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have all the other crewmates go to the other side of the map. And even if one crewmate's in the game, they will likely attempt a button or attempt to search for the body. And you do need to have a cooldown, you know? You've got to wait 22 seconds.
I think that's a... I'll just point out, like, I'm not a very good imp, but I'll point out some counterexamples to that reductive reasoning. You say that you need a single crewmate to go left side. So that's not the only way. We've had games where 2 crewmates go left side, they both die O2 hallway, and it's a guaranteed win. And then there's another scenario where they go specimen, and it's another guaranteed win.
Yeah, obviously. There's obviously...
Yes.
You can't predict Among Us. There's a lot of different scenarios.
Several ways
at
to
the
get
end-
triple on 7. And by the way, Odini's standpoint is it's much easier to get a triple on 7 than you'd expect.
Yeah, I know that Odini has a much more...
But that's like a little bit too dismissive of the skill it takes. I think that
Yeah.
the truth lies somewhere in the middle. It's challenging. It's not guaranteed. It's pretty tricky, but it's doable.
100%. And the reason why that people like Adini are up there as some of the best imps is that even in bad situations, they don't give up and they keep trying. Like,
Correct.
I'll take Icy, for example.
Yep.
So I was in an imp game with Icy, and Icy made a kill on 9 in Speci, and it wasn't the great. The kill itself, unfortunately, got found very quickly in Speci Hallway, much quicker than he would have expected, and it ended up getting put between him and another crewmate, and I was forced to pair clear with him and get the crewmate voted out. So now we're on 8 and we're a pair, right? And you were in the game, I believe, where we made a double.
Yep.
And now everyone knows it's us, right?
Yep.
But Icy doesn't give up. He continues trying to confuse the comms.
Yes.
And we do end up tying on 6, which was
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's
completely.
so cool.
And that the fact that Icy was able to just convince one crew to vote with him.
That's
and
all
I
you need.
managed to vote
It only
myself.
takes one crew on 6. If you mess up
Yeah.
one crewmate, that's all it takes. Because now both
And-
imps can vote
yeah.
with that confused crew.
Yeah, there
And
was
then we
a
just
game,
ran away with the win.
There was a game I had where my teammate killed like right behind me in like bottom decom, and I was in like admin, right? So like it was terrible, and then someone came in and they like checked bottom decom, and I was right there, so I just killed them. So we got a double kill on 10, both in bottom decom, and we were instantly called out, like both the imps, right? And there was someone that just left top decom who just like wasn't cleared. So that entire game, they were who was it? Ken, I'm pretty sure was alive. So they just kept like being like, but this person isn't cleared, and we ended up tying votes on 8. We kill one person. They call a button to body, or they call a button, and the body gets hidden. And they're like, okay, skip. We don't know who it is. If it's like them two or this pair, right? And then we're on 6, right? And my teammate gets a kill, and he self-reports, and he says like something blah blah blah. They're a pair. Just vote one of them, and he gets the entire crewmates to vote the person that was just not cleared, and we ended up winning, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the thing that strikes me as an issue for imps that are struggling to get good kills is that actually their kills aren't terrible. It's the way they play in meetings can really affect them. Because I actually think the psychology of Among Us is much more crucial than the mechanics of it. Because good imposters can make bad kills and still get away with them if they are convincing and persuasive, and they think fast on the spot during meetings. So what I've realized is that imps that struggle are usually less confident imposters. They don't speak as much, they don't provide as much info, and they end up kind of just getting shot because they don't have a defense worth or valiant enough to, provide an adequate base.
Isn't that so sad? Like a lot of the games would probably be imp wins if people believed in themselves more and spoke more authoritatively.
Yeah, it's a confidence issue, and it doesn't help that there's a lot of flaming in the server for throwing as crew. So you end up losing your crew confidence, which ends up heavily affecting your imp confidence. And it kind of ends up spiraling downwards.
I mean, on my own front, I think I start sounding a little bit too like angry or indignant when I'm imp, and then people read me on just the change in my behavior. So you have to have like this parallel where you have to be similar when you're imp and crew. Like X does it well. He's just always loud and annoying as both imp or crew. Like if he's crew, he's not cleared, but he just like hard pushes the imps, and you just have to assume that he's crew, which is very, very tilting. But then it makes it extremely difficult to know whether you're throwing if you don't trust him, and therefore like he gets away with a lot of crew and imp wins as a result. But what's your own mindset when you go in as imp? Do you try to like solve the mystery and then just like misclear your imp teammate? Would you just try to go for good kills, or like what's your strategy?
So last season, I was experimenting with a lot of second imp scenarios, and I would actually say that I got quite decent at second imp. But this season, I believe in all 3 of my imp wins so far, I've made first contact. Oh no, actually I played second imp in one of these games. However, I made first kills, first imp in both my first 2 imp games. And the reason I did it was A, because I don't want to get meted for being second imp. I want to experiment with new playstyles. And also the fact that if you can make a good kill mechanically and improve in that sense with a good second imp backing you up, it's not that hard inherently to win games, just as long as you have that confidence to back you up. Because I wouldn't say I'm very good mechanically, but I would say I have the confidence to relentlessly defend myself, and I have the energy to non-stop defend myself.
So this is something that you're already doing well and you don't really have to try to do. What do you try to like work on when you go into an imp game? I guess this season you haven't had any imp losses, so there's like nothing to work on. But what about last season? What did you try to change this season that you weren't doing last season?
Oh yeah, well, last season I was kind of making kills that just weren't getting me cleared. I won't.
So just like bad kills, like in front of someone, or like in a bad location, or everyone's stacked on vitals, or something like that.
It was more not bad kills in front of people. The kills made logical sense, but it was my pathing afterwards and prior to it that got me caught. And no matter how much I was attempting to improve my pathing, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah. Do you try to get seen, or do you try to hide?
I try to get seen a lot.
Okay.
I believe in getting vision because you can manipulate.
Yeah. If you're seen, people start getting marinated. That's your hope, right?
Yeah. And it's not that, it's the way misinformation can spread very easily is it just takes one person to say they saw you there.
And it starts sounding like you're clear.
Yes, people can subconsciously assume.
Yes, it started happening in my game. Like, and people, by the way, if you are seen near the medbay scanner, they start assuming you're a scanner.
There's a lot of assumations that, well, it's just another imp win, and that's, Jesus Christ, that's 5 imp wins in a row.
So many imp wins.
Yeah. Like, the imps are learning, okay? They're getting better.
Yeah, it's good. I'm actually, like, people are obsessed with seeing crew win rate go up, but I think it's actually really healthy for the server that people are starting to do better at its imp.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's the harder role. Obviously, it's the lower win rate.
I think when you get imp, you shouldn't be annoyed. You should definitely be excited to.
So many people are scared of imp, right? Like they just say, "I just want crew because it's the chill role," whereas imp is the sweaty, difficult role. I mean, if you're playing ranked, you're here to sweat. If you're not wanting to sweat, why not just like play some casuals to chill?
That's very true. I think that usually the people that go with that mindset are the people that kind of, I wouldn't say sheep, but kind of accept info that other people are giving and kind of just go along with it, where they don't have to put as much energy into affecting the outcome of the game. Whereas as imposter, they are, well, solely outcoming the effect of the game. So crew that kind of just accept what other people are saying are less likely to counter what they're saying when they're imp, right? And yeah, there's one more thing that helps imposters, and that's meta. Because whilst meta you would think helps crew, it can be very easily manipulated. Very easily. So
do you try to unmeta yourself, or do you try to like meta clear yourself, or like how do you abuse the meta?
Well, it's kind of a subconscious meta type thing. So you know how people can have, you know how there's like good crewmates, I'll take Icy for example. Good crewmates can have gut feelings, right?
Yeah.
Where they just kind of know that someone's a crew.
Yeah, I have my own example once you've told yours.
Yeah, usually that comes down to the crewmates subconsciously analyzing and learning the playstyle of that person and linking the dots in their heads subconsciously and realizing their pathing seems pretty normal crew, like they've done prior, and you kind of just have a gut feeling that they're crew. So what I like to do is I like to purposely let myself be seen doing the exact same things as crew, to certain people that I know is going to catch on to that, whether that be subconsciously or consciously, and attempt when I'm imp to play the same way and see if they're taking the, I guess you could call it bait, see if they're kind of following with what I'm saying. And it's worked quite well. In fact, I got hard cleared in one of my imp games basically from it. But yeah. What was your example, sir?
So this is going a year earlier, where the meta against me was that as imp I would run under storage, and it got to the point where people would see me not running under storage and hard clear me.
Yeah, that's not great.
Which is wild. So one time, Hyper, a guy who used to play in the server back in Nutter's days, saw me just on vitals, not under storage, and is like, "Oh, Bricknick's a crewmate," and hard clears me, which is absurd. I mean, that would never fly today, never ever.
Yeah.
And then another time, like he's trolling or whatever, and lures me out of storage, and like that trust check or whatever, and then I just kill there. It's like, oh, okay. I could just claim I never went out of storage. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird time. I think this is like not at all applicable in today's world. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, there's a bit of resemblance there actually. In some of the modern day things, like, so there are some people that argue it's impossible for them to get an imp win in these servers because they just don't speak enough. But theoretically, you can guarantee yourself an imp win, right? Obviously, you would never do this, and I know that most people would never do it because once you've done it once, it's very hard to get the trust to do it again. But you could very simply just give yourself an insta crewmate meta and just unmeta yourself, and that's a guaranteed imp win.
Right.
So for the people that, like, if you really are struggling to get a single imp win,
sure, you could use it to just cash in one imp win.
Yeah.
Like if I claim scan as imp, I could probably hard clear myself. But I don't.
You could probably get away with it twice though. Actually,
I don't really want to do it. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you would never do it. You would never do it. You would always keep your meta.
Yeah, I prefer to keep it, even though it's probably suboptimal. I don't think I'm trying to optimize for like short-term gain.
Yeah. I think the whole medbay meta thing is actually not that bad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I gave myself a meta that surprisingly no one ever catched onto in a month, where if I go lab round 1 and crewmate, because I will do inspect samples and that's the only time I will ever go to lab.
Yep.
I'm surprised no one actually ever
caught onto it.
Saw that.
I think if you don't talk about it, it's too hard to remember 285 people's metas. Right?
Trust me, the best players will probably subconsciously realize that's happening.
Alright, so what is your meta on Sen?
Sen's got a bit of a voice tell. It's not great and it's not a guarantee, but sometimes so Sen is a very adamant crewmate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it tunneling, but I would say he doesn't question himself a lot.
Sure.
He kind of takes a point.
Is this as imp or just in general?
As crew.
So as crew he doesn't question himself, but as imp he does?
As imp, he doubles back on a lot of the things he says.
I see.
And it's not always, and Sen's obviously a good imposter, and you're not gonna always get him out from it. But you can kind of tell when he's double tracking in what he's saying as imp, because he doesn't do it much as crew. And there's a bit of a correlation there. But again, there's some imposters that are very hard to meta. Obviously, people.
Who do you think is like one of the hardest imps to meta?
I would probably, from my point of view, or from in general.
Well, let's go with your point of view since it's your interview.
My point of view, I would say Jojo.
Okay. So is it? It's difficult to meta him because on the map he moves the same, or in the meetings he's the same, or both?
I mean, I'm not very good at looking at pathing clips, but I'm quite good at the psychology of it, and I can't really tell much difference.
So here are some weird things I've noticed about Jojo as crew.
Go on.
We were fixing reactor, and I'm holding left, and he runs up and hides behind the left reactor as crew.
Yeah, he makes plays that are imp-like, but then he ends up being crew, which I
Yeah.
guess helps him not being meterable.
Yeah, do you
Right.
think that, would you go that direction? Do you try to like play strangely as crew to help your imp?
Yes, a lot. I
do that?
I see.
Because
Well-
Pryor has done that as well, and then I questioned him on it because I found it to be somewhat intent trolly, but then he made the defense of this helps my imp game, and I'm sort of coming around to the idea, but still a little bit unsure of it on my own side.
Yeah, I can kind of summarize the idea of it. So, as imp, you have a much lower win percentage, right? And therefore you're going to gain more MR, right?
Yeah.
So if you're making these subtle, tiny bit suspicious plays that isn't gonna get you voted out, but just you can never be meted, it definitely helps your imp out. If you're just playing as crew to completely help your imp, that is, you're basically being a third imp, right? If you're genuinely, you've got to find a line where it's balanced, where you're still helping the crew, definitely, but at the same time, you're subtly preventing your imp from being meted. And I know that people are slowly figuring out metas on me. I know that there's definitely people that claim to have meta on me, and I cannot confirm nor deny that. But I am trying to find my own metas and change them, because obviously no one is perfect. Everyone has a meta.
Sure, but I mean,
including
at
XYZ.
this stage, I don't think you have to change much. I mean, if it's not break, don't fix it. You already got 3 wins in a row.
That is true. I do have to dodge Soul, unfortunately, because he can meta me, apparently.
Oh, that's funny. He's changed his name to I Can Meta Zach.
Yep.
That's amazing. Before we wrap, I do want to say, Cow says, tell Zach I said hi.
Yeah, Cal wants to know his playstyle, and I just told him he wings it and he hopes for the best. Which I guess a lot of imposters do.
Cow has been
Yeah.
like rising up in the YouTube scene, documenting
see.
some of his imp gameplay, and yeah, I checked out one of his videos. So yeah, shout out to Cow. Good start to
Where's
your
Cal on there?
YouTube content career.
Shoot, Cal lost like 5 crew games in a row, and I think he's a bit annoyed.
That's funny. Yeah, I guess, like, do you have any shout outs that you want to give now that you have the podium?
Depends.
Depends. That's a very guarded response.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shout out George, because I like George, and I think George is gonna be the best imposter.
The
Very
best imposter. High
Yeah, George is
praise.
George is tryharding this season, and George is going to climb the ranks. Who else? Oh, and obviously, CEO Simp, the best player on Earth, with currently an 100% crew and 100% imp win rate.
Isn't that
The
wild?
best, yeah.
I mean, he he has the typical sort of thumbprint of a lot of players in this community of talks a big game, hasn't yet proven it with the results, but then like early indication is, you know, he has some talent, which is good.
Yeah.
Sort of like maybe undiscovered type of guy. Guess we'll see what
I mean,
happens.
I've only been playing for a season now, and last season I didn't do. I mean, I've actually been playing for 2 seasons, right? I played like 40 games 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
But I hated it, right? The vision change really, I guess, brought a lot of people into ranked. I feel like.
Isn't
I think
that
the
so
vision-
cool? Like,
Yeah, the vision
I
change was the great.
I don't know if I agree with your assessment that the vision change brought people into ranked. I think it's the other way around. I think that we brought in a bunch of people into ranked, and then we made the vision change.
Oh yeah, when I don't say brought people, I mean like it kept people.
Sure, it's
Like,
retained
not-
the community, it's kept it exciting, and all that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, because a lot of people hated 0.5 vision, and there's been another imp, which is, what is this? XYZ. Yeah, the imp wins are rolling in today.
Rolling in the deep, imp wins. Love it.
Yeah.
Alright, Zach.
I'm gonna say
Last question for you. If you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing about Ranked Among Us, what would it be?
Or can it be a ban one?
A banned one? What does it
A
mean?
ban.
Oh, you want to
to
ban hammer someone?
Could I? Is that an option?
Okay, well, we're getting pretty controversial. I think if you want to say this, DM me first, and then I'll tell you whether it's appropriate or not for the stream.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna magic that one up. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like,
Keep that one up.
imagine that you are Saruman the White, well, sorry, you're Gandalf the Grey. You're not Saruman. You want to use your magic for good here, hopefully not for evil.
Yeah. I would probably bring back VIP lobbies.
You know what? If you are that serious about that, how do you feel about the Pro League?
I don't really understand the Pro League. I should probably read more in FIBA Ranked. I just feel like the idea of VIP lobbies should stick,
Okay.
but there should probably be like, it can't be used at all times, right?
Let
It's still
me
gonna
let
be-
me break down the benefit of VIP lobby and tell me if you disagree with any of this.
Okay.
The good thing about VIP lobby is that you're going to get consistently good games because you'll have high skill people that are vetted. Correct?
Yep.
Now, the Pro League could be that, but repeated, where you keep playing with good people, and then you earn a separate prize, and you never have to play with bad people, because there's a consistent bar that you have to meet to get into the league. You have to maintain a certain level of play, you have to be active, you have to pass an interview, and then you're only ever playing against other people who are great, not even just good. Do
It's
you
like
get it?
yeah, it's like a separate league.
Yeah,
but there's
imagine,
also-
like, to use an analogy, did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
No, I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay, do you know about football? Do you know about soccer?
Yes, yes.
So
I
you
do.
know the difference between Premiership and Championship.
Yes, yes.
So those are two tiers within like a very competitive scene.
Yep.
So there's the sort of amazing tier, and then there's just the okay tier. And I'm talking about the amazing tier. So think about people who are so good at the game that they don't need to prove it to you. And those are your consistent teammates.
Yeah.
That is the dream of Pro League.
Sounds like an advertisement, but I'm buying it. So.
Now that you're buying what I'm selling, do you want to be part of building it?
Oh,
Because it's actually
Depends.
not that hard. All I need from you is like a signature. If you
this
would
like
be willing to put your name against the idea, I can type it up and donate a cash prize or whatever it takes to get it off the ground.
right. I think it would probably have to have more of a community check first.
That's the
and
whole idea,
then-
dude. You are part of that community. Right now, you are the ranked ace. You are at
That
the
is true.
front.
I am the ranked ace.
You are the lead. You can lead from the front or you can hide in the shadows. What do you choose?
I'm being squeezed of options here. Wow.
Not really. I mean, you
Um,
can say, like, who the hell are you, Breakneck? Like, get a life or something. Why are you talking with teenagers? Or
That's fair. That is very fair.
you have many options before you.
Yeah, I do 100% like the idea,
Great.
but
What's stopping
I
you?
feel that the only issue there could be with it is a community split and a sense
Yes.
of the
Okay.
normal lobby
Now,
not
here's
being used.
where I defeat that argument. This minor league baseball that we're in right now is full of mostly jungle pub lobbies, right? That's the whole reason why it's unsatisfying.
That's
And
true.
it's both positive and negative. It's positive for the growth of ranks. It's kind of negative for the veterans because they come in and like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
Now, it's great that this exists, but it can exist in parallel with actually cracked lobbies. That's what VIP lobby used to be. But people were worried that it would kill off the noob league. What if we got noob league to a level where it's consistently having 3 active lobbies? And I can be part of shepherding that as well. I've been trying to work on that for like upwards of, since I started this or whatever, right? Like a year plus. And that means running tournaments, it means attracting streamers, attracting casuals in from stream, all sorts of people can be recruited to keep the scene healthy and alive. It also means reducing toxicity because you want to retain people who are new, not bully them out, right? And help them get better
Yeah.
and coach them. And we've got Odini and Pryor now coaching people. That means people who want to get better will get better because they'll get the instruction feedback that they need in a healthy and positive way with VOD reviews and everything, right? So now there is a possibility that you could get 3 consistent ranked lobbies going where people don't hate their lives and are playing like acceptable level for a noob league. Not great, but good, right? And then you can have the actually cracked players be unafraid of playing in Pro League without quote-unquote killing ranked, because ranked will be mostly jungle, and that's fine. And then there's a separate Pro League with the ability to thrive. Like, would you really miss playing in jungle? Because you can always come back. I mean, it's always open.
So you're saying there needs to be separate MR?
Yes.
Issued?
Correct. Separate MR, probably a separate bot. Like, fuck this bot. Build our own. Make it better.
Honestly, true.
Definitely.
That's true. The bot sucks.
Right, I don't want to sit there getting muted, unmuted at random, and then having to wait, go back to queuing, and then your spot gets sniped, and then like you can't get your MR fixed when someone pushes through the wrong result, and you have to keep escalating because of bot bugs, and then like the only developer is Asian, who's like completely AFK and checked out from the scene and busy with in real life stuff. We've been dealing with that one bot for 2 years, and it still hasn't gotten much better. Like, build a better one. I think it's worth doing.
How long would that take to build a better bot line?
It's not actually that much. It would take like a week, 2 weeks.
Nah, it's
like
more than that. It's definitely more than 2 weeks.
I mean, to get a working version out.
Look, you could do it quick and dirty with just pen and paper. That could be ready today. The thing is, if you want this to be scalable, maintainable, sort of like working
that
correctly,
takes a lot longer.
And especially if you want it to be trustworthy enough that you put lots of money on the line for the cash prizes, it has to be really stable and trustworthy and accountable and so on. There's many things that have to go right, and it's not a 2-week project. But you can do it on an Excel spreadsheet and have it ready tomorrow. These things are like can exist in parallel as well, right? Like you can have a proof of concept that's done very cheaply with zero coding just to prove the viability of ranked. That's very similar of just doing a tournament, which Prior is in a big fan of doing sort of a manual tournament. He keeps DMing me saying like, oh, you know, Polaris had lots and lots of tournaments. Like, why can't we just do it with pen and paper? I'm like, okay, I guess. It's just
it works. I feel like one of the things that this bot lacks is a tournament mode.
Yeah, 100%.
Sure.
Like because I feel like because the MMR is good for long term, but not having that tournament mode for short term games is a bit lacking. Like they have to have a separate bot for that. Like
I mean, they do. They have a separate bot for it.
Yeah. The way that that's handled is like there's a whole separate server for tournaments right now.
There's a tournament server. But it's not really used, is it?
No, it is. We did a tournament just a month ago.
Yeah.
People act as if it was like ancient history at this point, but it was very recent in the grand scheme of things. Maybe it's like 2 months. I don't know. It's whatever. It was in April, I guess.
Brennan, I'll ask you this though.
Yeah.
Do you think the ranked community is growing right now or decreasing?
No, I think it's growing.
It's growing.
I keep meaning to look up the numbers. I keep looking at the numbers every now and then, but it's sort of ad hoc, and people are like, well, of course it's always growing at the start of the season. I'm like, okay, yeah, but it's good, right? Like, why aren't you happy?
Yeah. But then why would you want to risk possibly splitting the community? I'm not guaranteeing.
Okay. Yeah. So then what you're saying is, like, let's never take risks.
Obviously, but clearly at the rate it's going right now, wouldn't it want to remain the same?
Nah, man. Okay, well, I have a different standpoint to you. You're taking a sort of conservative standpoint of like, oh, like why take this chance? You know, think of what we could lose. I'm thinking like, think of what we could gain. Like you want VIP lobby back. You said that was your one thing you'd change if you could wave a magic wand. Now I've granted you the keys to the kingdom, and you're like, oh, but watch out, we might lose this meadow.
I will definitely think about it.
You should. And when you're thinking about it, speak to some other good players and ask what they think about it, because they're probably going to influence you a lot more than I will.
Oh yeah, I'll be definitely talking
What's
to
the
IC
topic about? What's this topic?
Gazel, you'll be able to check out the VOD. I'm going to end the stream. You can look back on it. That will give you all the info.
Yeah, it's gone a bit of a tangent, hasn't it?
Yeah, but
So
a good tangent, hopefully.
You wanted VIP lobbies back.
Yeah, but it's I took that and I directed it into my own agenda of let's build Pro League.
Yeah, that I was also going to say build exclusivity, which wouldn't be good for the game, for the community.
You would think so, but I think we can have our cake and eat it too, because
yeah, I mean, there's definitely perks to it. I definitely agree.
We can build both the inclusive community, which is the open ranked scene that we have today. We can make it thriving, having 3 consistent lobbies, they can be quite mixed skill, and that's fine because anyone is welcome. And then in addition to that, you can have a thriving pro league scene.
I don't know. I'm still trying to decide whether the activity of the Pro League would actually be reasonable, right? Because you're never going to get more than one game in the Pro League, would you?
You would probably have 1 to 2 lobbies Pro League, realistically. You
Would
don't
it be
really
like
need more than one
would it
lobby in
be
Pro
like-
League anyway.
Would it be a different leaderboard, or would
Yes.
it stay?
Yep, completely separate.
Different leader. Oh.
Yep, separate bot, separate leaderboard, separate prizes, separate MMR,
I
separate
mean, it's
everything.
basically just a different version, which would be cool. Pretty
Yep,
much.
exactly. Like, build it better. That's basically it.
Yeah, there's definitely pros to it. Although I'm just trying to not rush
I would
into
definitely love
really
to see a rotation of custom roles in like a different queue or something.
Oh, yeah,
That's
and,
like- what do you mean?
that's interesting. I mean, like,
Cool.
firstly, you don't need a queue if you have Pro League, because usually you're going to only really have about 10 people that are good enough and online.
Yeah.
But if it really becomes an issue, I'm happy to do the, like, everyone gets a fair chance to play, and after you've played one game, you all go back to queue, and then you get thrown back into a randomized lobby, because you're all good enough. You never have to dodge anyone.
Would there also be a demoralization issue if someone doesn't get accepted into Pro League? Per se?
They can be, you know, we could
They
talk
should
about
just have
what it,
to
we could
prove,
talk about,
wouldn't
like, what is a fair way to get people into and out of Pro League. I think
But, like,
there's a blend. Like, firstly, they should have achieved a certain rank within pubs. No, sorry, not pubs. They should have achieved certain rank within purple ranked today, like gold or platinum or something like that. Next, they should have played at least 100 hours of Among Us. Next, they need to pass a basic interview, similar to SKs or Among Us MMR, where they can say things like, how long does it take to get from vitals to water wheels? That sort of stuff should be table stakes. If you can't answer those questions, you don't belong in Pro League, in my eyes. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but that's my opinion. Next, they should present at least one VOD of their actual gameplay, and then be able to answer questions that are posed by other community members about how they're playing.
Oh my god, I can't play. Oh my god, guys. Wait.
What's up, Cheese?
Guys, 6'5" is probably the worst to ever do it, I
He's-
think.
I'll tell you, he's the guy that came from Milk Server, right?
Wait, 6'5" is probably the worst player ever to ever do it.
Alright.
Wait,
I'm
can
going to
be a part of
end the
this game?
stream here. I'm going to end the stream here, Zach. I hope I've given you enough sort of food for thought. And
Yeah,
Cheese.
definitely.
Yeah, take care.
Oh, my bad.
Alright.